Well, hello. Good evening. Welcome to Vicarage Road. It's a much quieter, more subdued place than it was, especially in those very yellow seats a little while ago. Hope you've all had a lovely evening. I mean, if a certain other manager was in charge, I'd probably be going, oh, until I did oh, and then I did oh. Yep. Do not adjust your video. I'm just going to mind out of the way of the man who's clearing up the cables there. Yeah. Not seen this before. It certainly feels like I've not seen a night like this before, and that I haven't, because Norwich have not won by more than 3 goals away from home in the Premier League since 1994. 93. It was November 93, I think, when Norwich won 5-1 at Everton, thanks to Efe Nkoku's 4 goals. Norwich have literally been in Europe more recently than they've won by 3 goals or more away from home in the Premier League. So this is a quite remarkable evening. And if I take you through the game, I mean, I thought Norwich looked really sharp and controlled and carried through momentum really well from their Everton performance in the first sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes. I thought they looked like they were dangerous going forwards. They looked like they had good control at the other end of the pitch. Dean Smith kept things the same in terms of the 11, minus Tim Krul, who, as we now know, is out for 4 to 6 weeks, which is a blow, a significant blow still, with his shoulder injury. But Jakob Sorensen kept his place in the middle and was doing really well. I thought Tom cleverly went in a bit on him. I know it was sort of a 50-50, but it was also a Tom cleverly kind of resulting injury, I thought, because he probably just stayed into the tackle a little bit more, and that clearly twisted Jakob's knee. Jakob Sørensen, sorry, I got it completely wrong. Jakob Sørensen twisted his knee slightly. Just really excited, obviously. So that's medial ligament damage. So hoping it's not too bad, but he did have his leg in a big sort of knee support binder thing, which is obviously A, a technical term, and B, not ideal. So hopefully it settles down and it's not too bad, but that's obviously a shame for him. And he was doing really well. It was looking like he was taking on his performance again, actually, from where he was against Everton. So again, that's real shame for where he was doing. And a lot of Adam Leventhal's waving to me live, and he's saying goodbye. There we go. Bless Adam. I hope he's okay, because he was a bit upset. He didn't think that the first goal was a non-foul. He definitely felt that was a foul. So yeah, Jakob was doing well. And I thought Kenny McLean comes in for some reason. Kenny McLean is what he does lots of things really well. He does some things not so well at times. And at the moment, he's a bit of a whipping boy, I think. He's like, let's blame it all on Kenny. So when he comes on, Norwich lose their shape. They lose their hold on the game and the control, really. And I thought Watford were pretty good in that period and looked dangerous without really making Angus Gunn work. And I thought Norwich actually defended those moments quite well for the rest of that first half. But they were getting a bit deep, and I wasn't too comfortable with that. The good thing is that at half-time, and fair play to Dean Smith, because this has happened a few times, especially when the personnel is kind of similar, they sort of tweaked it. They got back in better control of the game, and probably crucially, they scored the first goal, which was, as I was saying, for me, Samir, because Watford had 3 January debutants, all playing tonight, and Samir was one of them at centre-back. To me, so him and Tamu were running for the ball just down in this corner. Tamu does have both arms up, but what they are looking for in the penalty area is, well, in general, I think, is contact with consequence. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there is no way he has gone down under the pressure of Teemu Pukki's push, because there's no actual push. He's got his arms up, but that's because he's running forward. Now, we've all seen enough Premier League football to know that some officials could still blow up for that and it still be given as a foul. And people will probably go, oh, that's soft. But then that's it. So Norwich got the benefit of that decision, but I also felt that it was the right decision because I didn't think it was a foul. Samir's got to be stronger than that. And, this was his Premier League debut. So maybe he thought that would be okay from whence he came, but it wasn't, and I think it was the right decision. And we then had a wonderful improvised finish from Josh Sargent, which is improvised, but I think anyone who's played football would probably know that in that situation, you see the ball coming to you, you're basically contorting your body to try and get it in on goal. You don't exactly know where it's going to go. And it bounced off the crossbar, so it only just crossed the line, but Hawkeye gave it. So it all kind of went, I'm going to just walk around, I think, at this point. It all kind of went Norwich's way, but, it's a great finish because it's an improvised finish, because he's reacted to the ball and forced it in on goal. And that was Josh Sargent's first goal in the Premier League. And then within another 14, 24 minutes, can't remember exactly what it was, he has his second, which is a brilliant, powerful header, steaming in at the far post from a superb Milot Rashica across. It's a lovely moment for the pair of them because it's Milot's assist and it is a cracking ball in. It's the sort of thing that I probably felt Josh Sargent wasn't capable of, if I'm honest. And I'd wondered if he was going to score a Premier League goal. And what's he done tonight? I think he's been brilliant, because he's done all the things I was really enjoying with him, playing with Milot, Adam, Ida and Teemu Pukki in a sort of a four that could offer a threat, but didn't have the burden on Josh to score. Now, whether that's freed him up a little bit to then score, to then be relieved of that burden, I don't know. Whether the assist against Everton helped, I don't know. But brilliant finish. And talk about playing to your strengths. I thought that was fantastic. And it's a great moment for him. And I tell you what, I mean, if he carries on in this vein, Adam, was a bit more quiet today, but it wasn't bad. Norwich got, a few real sort of inform attacking options, really, which is seems very bizarre to say it, but Norwich scored 3 goals here at Watford. The third one comes in the 90th minute. It's an own goal, quite reminiscent of the goal that Michael Keane scored against his in the Everton game on Saturday. By that point, I can't really remember, because we had a floodlight failure and 15 minutes of added time by the end. I don't think the game was in any real danger of being called off, because you could still see all the pitch. It was just the floodlights, a bit like they are now, actually, if you can see that, probably not, but half the floodlight was kind of on, the top half was on, and the bottom 2/3 was off, but you could still see the pitch perfectly fine. They tried to reset it a couple of times, it didn't come on, and I think Mike Dean went, look, if everyone's happy to play, we'll just carry on playing. I think the only people who were probably a bit unhappy about it were the broadcasters, because the lower the light level, the more it affects things like 4K and 5K and 3G and whatever technology it is that you're getting on your TV, for the people who spend all the money trying to get it. So that was kind of by the line. It just meant that we had a lot of injury time. And that injury time led to that third goal. We also had Emmanuel Dennis, who was sent off for a second yellow card, which were probably both a bit silly in terms of yellow cards, but not really much that could be argued, I think, in terms of that. It just was what it was. And that the game was kind of one, if anything, in fact, Watford were better with 10 men than against 11. And they actually created a few chances. Hernandez hit the bar with a really good effort from range. And there were quite a few times when the back post was worryingly left free. So I think Norwich need to sort that out a bit. But because, it could have been a bit awkward. Watford did have the ball in the back of the net at one point. They got called off for offside, chalked off for offside correctly. And I think that sort of niggled Dean Smith a bit. But that was probably it in terms of the niggles, because other than that, it was a cracking performance. And I think we saw some really good cohesion. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. It was not a great game of football. And I can understand people looking at it going, sure. But from a Norwich perspective, you just wanted them to be competitive, and they are being competitive now. They've got players back. It's a brilliant thing to see. It bodes well. Norwich have got the points on the board, 16 of them now. Other teams have got 2 games in hand. But even if, say, Newcastle and Watford pick up 3 points from their 2 games in hand, you're talking about a point here and there. So it's, competitive at that point. Norwich haven't lost both games to a team they were newly promoted with. In fact, they've actually now taken 6 points from 3 games against them. And obviously they've got a home game against Brentford. So if Norwich win that, I know Brentford are probably going to be okay, but, that would be 9 points from those 4 games, which are generally quite important. Also worth bearing in mind that Newcastle and Burnley have both still got to come to Carrow Road before the end of the season. So, and Norwich's next game, Crystal Palace at Carrow Road. I mean, Crystal Palace are owed one for what Norwich did at Selhurst Park when they were particularly hit by injuries. Again, Angus Gunn will be in goal from here. So plenty for him to prove. I thought he was solid today, and it was a big game for him, really, because he did have more protection. There was more eyes on him, more for him to prove. And I thought he did most things really well. In fact, he made a really good save, I think, in the second half. So I think that would do the world of good for him, because so much has been made of him losing 9-0, then 5-0, then 3-0, despite how many games happened in between and however much of it is relevant and the level of the quality of the side in front of him and all that sort of stuff. I was doubting him. I wanted to see what he'd got today, and it was good. So a real chance for him now to build on that, because he's going to probably get a few games, despite the fact there is now a mini break. Norwich play at Wolves in the FA Cup, of course, in a fortnight and a day's time. But it's sort of a mini winter break now, despite all the call-offs. Norwich players are going to have 3 days off, 3 days in and 3 days off again. That's because if they got 6 points from these 3 Premier League games, Dean Smith said they could have 6 days off. Not all together, but they have got 6 days off. And apparently Jack Grealish has already texted Dean Smith to say, you never gave us that many days off when you were at Villa, Gaffer. So there we go. I think I've covered everything off there. No Todd Cantwell in the squad. No, he's not being sold. It's that he's not training well enough and missed out on being selected in Dean Smith's eyes. So there we go. Watch the training video, I suppose, from midweek, because that's up. And I think that's everything. Just a remarkable night, a potentially narrative changing night. We've had a maligned striker score a brace. We've had Norwich City win away from home 3-0. And I think what you've got now is from what was a 4-horse race. You probably still have to assume is a 4-horse race, because Everton have never been relegated from the Premier League. That would be a remarkable state of affairs if they don't sort it out now that Rafa's gone. But Aston Villa got relegated. If you mismanage a club, you get dragged into things. So they might have to be a little bit careful. Even Brentford, teams can get dragged in. No one's safe yet until they get to sort of 30 plus points. But the idea that Norwich are written off, that they're an embarrassment to the Premier League and that they shouldn't exist. Well, they've just won the last 2 games, guys. So not sure it's true, really, is it? And there we go. Right, I've got stuff to write. I've got to get home. I've got to do all of that in a short space of time. So I'm going to head off. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been coherent. Lots to like from tonight, and there'll be quite a few unsung heroes in it all. But ultimately, those Norwich fans, blimey, they really enjoyed that tonight, and they were fantastic, I have to say, from start to finish. Great noise. They never had to really worry about their team going behind and getting on their backs. Conversely, the home fans were not happy. I wouldn't say Claudio Ranieri gave a press conference where he expects to be sacked this weekend, but it won't be in his hands. And I don't know, what does that even do if Watford sack Ranieri? Goodness knows. But as I wrote last week, being beaten by Norwich is not a sackable offence. Not if they keep playing like this, because if they keep playing like this, then they're going to give it a good go between now and the end of the season, which is, an upgrade on where we were. So there we go. Maybe we should do a TIFO video every week. Hey, TIFO boys. Right, I'm going to sign off. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Have a lovely next week. Free weekend next week, obviously. I'll see you at Molineux. There'll be an On The Ball podcast in a fortnight's time, I think. And the boys are doing an audio one this Monday. So keep an ear out for that on the podcast feeds. Until then, thanks for all your comments and questions. I'll make sure I read them all at some point over the coming days, and I'll get back to any that require it. But hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy your weekend. And I'll see you all very soon. I could leave that on. Why don't I leave that on while we play the outgoing music? That'd be fun, wouldn't it? To celebrate. And see you on the other side. How about that? I don't even know if I've covered everything off there, but I'm off. 3-0. Who'd have thunk it?